Hey friends, it's Evan with Oseberg, and today we're going to talk about uncommitted working interest, specifically in New Mexico, and how to identify uncommitted working interest and generate a lead list that we might use to call from in order to acquire working interest. This is a search engine called Full Text Search that Oseberg has. It's a search engine that sits on top of all courthouse records in the state of New Mexico and all OCD filings in the state of New Mexico. I'm going to just type in uncommitted working interest. I have the state of New Mexico selected here, and I'm going to run that query. And what's going to be returned is every document, whether it be an OCD filing or a courthouse record that has uncommitted working interest in the document. So this is just a search engine across all keywords, phrases, you name it, it's coming back. As you can see, these are largely case files with the OCD filing, but we have 6,897 results that we could go through. If we wanted to, we could further fill that down if there's a particular operator that we were interested in filing. I'm just randomly picking one called ABJ Oil. They're out of Arizona, of all places. And as we can see here, we've got that filtered down to 13 results where they're listed as a respondent to what looks like an uncommitted working interest under a compulsory pooling. We can list, AFE, and we can find everywhere there's a document that has uncommitted working interest in AFE. I think you get the point. Whatever it is you're looking for, you can easily search here in this database. We're going to come back to this in a second. When I'm thinking about generating a lead list in New Mexico for uncommitted working interest, the first thing I'm going to do is try to determine where it is that I might want to buy uncommitted working interest. For many of you, you're going to know exactly the townships that you're interested in buying in, either because you have underwriting there or you have historically bought there or there's a particular operator that you're following. But for folks like me, I'm just curious as to what's going on. So I'm going to select an AOI covering all of Lee and Eddy, New Mexico. I am then going to select a time frame. I'm just kind of picking 5 years for pooling activity and permit activity because I want to see what this looks like on a map in terms of activity. I'm going to come to my poolings, and the first thing I'm going to do, we extract all of the data out of those poolings for you to filter off of. And so a nice little filter that you can use very quickly is under status. We can get rid of our dismissed so that we're limited to looking at final compulsory poolings and stays. I then can map those, and that will give me a sense of what the pooling activity looks like over the last 5 years. I can also look at my permits, and under my permits, we have approved, pending approval, rejected, and submitted. I'll take out the rejected, and I'll map everything else. And when we get to the map, what we will see is the permit activity overlaid with the pooling activity over a 5-year period. And it's tied to a time bar so we can see how things are kind of trending and evolving over time. Now, I kind of like this area starting up here in 1827 and going across 1830 and then coming down to the state line. This is a 4x9 AOI covering 5 years of activity. 5 years is a lot of time. You don't necessarily need to go back that far to get a large number of respondents. And so I'm going to just limit that query to 2 years. I'm going to rerun my pooling query by just selecting the pooling button. And I have 2 years across 36 townships of compulsory poolings. I'm then going to drop out the dismissed, and I could filter off of operator or township and range or formation or unit size, or maybe I want to filter off of commencement of operations. Whatever it is that you might want to filter down further, you're welcome to do that, but I'm just going to kick out everything to Excel. I'm going to include all respondents and all hidden columns. I'm going to call this my Eddie uncommitted working interest test, and I'm going to save that file. I'm going to bring that file back up here now that I've downloaded it. You can see that the Excel export is finished. So I'm going to open up this Excel. Here are your poolings over that 2-year period, covering 36 townships in Eddy, New Mexico. I'm then going to click the second tab that says Respondents here. Let's expand the data. I'm going to select this column J under Comments, and I'm going to filter it. When I filter it, you can see that we have 9,009 respondents in this list. This list comprised of committed working interest respondents, mineral interest respondents, offsetting interest respondents, overriding royalty interest respondents, uncommitted working interest respondents, and working interest. I'm going to unselect the minerals, and I'm going to select our working interest and uncommitted working interest respondents. And I have a list of 3,247 entities. Okay, so that's 3,247 entities that fall under working interest, uncommitted working interest, and committed working interest. As you can see, there's a lot of different entities here, anything from Zorro Partners to Antelope Energy Company to Gale Gun. I then would like to kind of look, and since we're looking at uncommitted working interest, let's filter that list of 3,000 working interest owners to just those that are uncommitted. Here we've got a list of 278 uncommitted working interest owners listed in 36 townships in 2 years. From there, I'm going to look at some of these addresses because I'm curious to see, like this entity, which is out of Connecticut. So I'm going to write down RKC Incorporated. Let's go further. We got Paradise Valley, Arizona. So that's BF Energy. We've got another Arizona respondent here, J&J Energy. And let's get one more out of Orlando. Let's do James Hewitt. Okay, so let's go back to our search engine and let's figure out what we can learn about RKC Incorporated out of Connecticut. Here we see RKC Incorporated came back in 456 results. Again, these results include filings in the courthouse in addition to the OCD. And so we see where they're listed. Here you have a case file. Let's see if we can get where RCD is listed as uncommitted. We know we already have the section, township, and range in this data, but let's look at the documents. Here we see where RKC is listed with Vivian Krall, and we can pull up these filings. And we see RKC's on page 11 of this compulsory pooling. in terms of record title owners. We can also, so that's not telling us decimals. So let's see if we can find some decimals. So let's do BF energy. One result. That must be the one. Now, 224 results. So here we've got BF energy listed. And one of the things I can do is just type in a percent. And nothing came back. But as we looked in the document here, we got percentages listed here. Let's look for BF. Page 2. Here are some nice percentages. We can see that BF owns 0.05%. Obviously, we have other companies here in terms of their working interest that we can use to kind of get a sense for what kind of scale we're talking about. This can be done repeatedly where you can find, for example, Paladin Incorporated. Let's look at Paladin. And here we can see where they're listed as a respondent as well in several filings. All of this can be quickly researched so that you can figure out where they're listed in multiple tracks and where you can easily tease out potentially what kind of decimals we're working with in terms of the size and scale of their working interest. I hope this video has been helpful to you in terms of thinking in terms of your workflows. Again, this gives you quite a few numbers of records in order to work with. And it doesn't take a whole lot for you to put some capital to work and generate some returns. Thank you.